Hello there. Yes, I'm making this and I'm being a bit of a jerk while I'm making this. But November 18th of this year, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet releases, and I'm going to be doing a 24-hour stream, and I would like to see you all there. That's right, November 18th. That's a Friday, 24-hour stream. I will be doing it, and I will be having fun. So come on by, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, do all that stuff, and yeah, we'll have fun. So the numbers are in for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And congratulations, it has made $180 million. Domestically, internationally, it's sitting at about around $330 million. So not too bad. All things considered, the $330 million range, it helps make it at its halfway before making a profit. It has to make up to around $600 million before it can start making its profit. I think it was $640 million because the movie cost about $250 million. I'm doing rough numbers off the top of my head. So you have to make that doubled. So it was about $600 million, somewhere in that general range. Maybe a couple, $10 million plus here or there that before it can start turning its profit. Well, it's this little bit from Box Office Mojo. It's sitting at the second largest movie for this year, only coming in under Multiverse of Madness. Now, Multiverse of Madness was a shit movie, but there's some interesting things to start looking at when you compare Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, and then Top Gun Maverick. And I'm using Top Gun Maverick primarily because that ended up being the largest grossing movie of this year, actually reaching $1 billion. So you take a look at the initial start date, $84 million for Friday, 500 that million for Saturday, decent numbers, 500 for Friday. And you have negative 32% drop and a 31% drop day over day. Well, when you compare that to Doctor Strange's initial, still pretty, that tracks relatively good. You come down to the initial next go about, Friday, more people go, but Friday is when they have their biggest, that initial drop. The initial drop of 81.1%, and it goes into 54 and so on and so on. Less people started watching the movie, it starts bringing in less money, it starts losing its legs. Granted, Multiverse of Madness managed to make its profit, and managed to make some profit. How much profit? Don't know just yet. All things considered, it probably did relatively well. You come over here to Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor: Love and Thunder was the bomb for the MCU this year. It did not do good, but you take a look at its numbers again. Friday comes in pretty weak. You get that Saturday, negative 39% drop off. Sunday has a less drop off than Mom and Wakanda Forever, but you come over to that following weekend. That Friday has an 80% drop off, and still those 50% drop offs week over week and day over day and all that. So your numbers start changing, and this is what we've been seeing consistently now throughout the MCU. Your initial week is strong. The second week is when we see that 80% drop off, and then into the 50s. Less people want to see it. There's something going on that people don't want to go see this movie anymore. It ekes out the profit that it needs. I'm actually starting to question. I think Love and Thunder did make a profit, middling at best. Wakanda Forever potentially will make a profit. Just depends on how week 2 does, so we can start tracking it a little bit better. So I kind of messed up. I'm recording this after the fact because I forgot to look at some other numbers to compare Black Panther to, because I'm actually starting to think that this is important. You take a look at the initial release for Black Panther. This is not Wakanda Forever. This is the initial Black Panther. You have its first weekend ending at $202 million. Yes, it ekes out over $1 billion movie. That's fantastic. You look at its week over week, it has a 62% drop off compared to everything else that we've been seeing throughout the MCU at this standpoint. And again, I forgot to do this, so that I'm jamming this in. Sorry about all that. When you take a look at the initial reactions for Black Panther was a cultural moment created by Disney, by Marvel. They were saying these things like, if you didn't go see this movie, you were racist. You had to go see this movie if you supported black people. This was the first time black people were in the theaters. And now you take a look at how Wakanda Forever is doing without all that. It has only brought in right around, not quite half as much its initial weekend, but it's not half as much. It has brought in less than the initial movie's release. So this tells me that it's definitely not going to be anywhere near the initial Black Panther. I'm only using the initial Black Panther as an example of what the heck do I think is going to happen. Again, I don't see this movie doing better than Mom. I do see this movie potentially doing better than Thor: Love and Thunder. Still have to see next weekend to get a better detail. But this movie doesn't have that cultural push that Black Panther had. So you have to take that into account. You don't have people coming out saying, hey, if you don't see this movie, you're a racist. You don't have that right now. And a lot of people aren't going to even take that into consideration when judging whether or not to see this movie. Those times are gone. What's going to happen? And also, we also have to take into account that this number right now does not equate how many people went to go see this. In between Mom and Thor: Love and Thunder, you had ticket increases happen. So ticket sales began being different than what they were for Mom. Less people went to go see Thor: Love and Thunder than Mom, even though their initial opening weekends, it had a decent opening weekend. But less people went to go see it, even though it was bringing in a lot of money. We might have a similar situation here. More people are seeing this movie than Thor: Love and Thunder, but ticket sales and ticket prices have gone down, but ticket prices are going up. You take into account a video I did late last week. Ticket sales for its opening night were down in comparison to other movies. Ticket prices are still rising. So how does this movie fare? Gotta wait till next week. Nowhere near as profitable as Black Panther was, but I was sitting there. I was in the middle of sitting there. I was like, hey, I forgot to address Black Panther. Now back to my other video. But I mentioned Top Gun. Excuse me. Why did I mention Top Gun? Well, Top Gun's an example of a movie that made its $1 billion for its worldwide. And on its second weekend, it didn't do what the other two movies did. It only lost 50%, and then it kept gaining. So then you go to your day over day. And I don't count the day over days because at this point, because of course Friday is going to have a bigger more people going to the movies than Thursday. Of course that's going to happen. But you take a look at the week drop off. The week was a whole lot less than your Thor: Love and Thunder, Multiverse of Madness. So what is all this telling me? I don't know quite yet. I don't know if Black Panther is going to eke out its profit. I think it might. I'm starting to think it's going to make more money than Thor: Love and Thunder. Maybe a little less than Multiverse of Madness. Because when you take into consideration, the movie wasn't good. You take into consideration a lot of the bring back recast T'Challa. You take these other aspects into this movie, it is going to affect how the movie turns out. How does all this play out? We won't be able to tell until, again, next Sunday, next Monday. As it stands right now, I think it's going to eke out a profit. I really do think it's going to make its profit. I think it's going to... It won't be a $1 billion movie. We're not going to see another $1 billion MCU movie for a long time, mainly because people are just getting tired of it. I do not think it's because of superhero fatigue. I think superheroes are still very profitable and very nostalgic. What I think the problem is that MCU is putting out shit. Let's just be honest. The MCU keeps putting out shit over shit over shit. And people are getting tired of all that crap. So, yeah. People aren't watching it as much. Now, again, your opening weekend for these Marvel movies have been very consistent. You get a decent opening weekend. Second weekend's going to be a drop-off. It's just a matter of how much that drop-off is before we can actually see, hey, it had an effect. But until that, let me get you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Share it out with all your friends. Hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. Hit that subscribe button first, and I'll see you on the next time. Bye for now.